Hello viewers, welcome to my today's tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to make a pencil fitted gown with an exaggerated sleeve, a puff sleeve, and I'll be designing it with bias and some patches. Okay, this is what I'll be using for this beautiful gown. This is my satin. From the picture you can see from the underbust we're using a satin on that side. The patches, those flower patches, this is to design the dress. I have two of it here and my Ankara fabric and also a black bias. Okay, before we go into the full details of this video, if you are new to this channel, ensure you like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell to be the first to get notified when I upload a new video. Okay, thank you so much for those who have subscribed and have been watching my videos. This is a 6 years of Ankara fabric. I won't be using all of it, but I don't want to cut it out. So I'll just fold into using the desirable measurements, which is the biggest part of my lower body's measurement. I'll be cutting the lower parts before cutting the upper parts, which is the hip measurement plus 2 inches. So I just folded it into two. It's on fold, so I'll just check my hip measurement plus 2 inches. My hip is 9.5, so this is 9.5, 2 inches. So I'll still have to reduce it a little because it's still too wide. I don't want to waste my fabric. Ensure your fabric is on fold like I just did. So the fold gown length I'm working with is 38 inches. That's my gown length. So what I'll be doing now, I'll minus my half length from it to get the gown length. And the half length I'm working with 15 inches. 15 minus 38. Just place your tape like this. You can see what I did. This is my 15 inches. I just placed it like this and I measured my 38 inches. So I'll add 2 inches extra to it. So 38 minus 15 will give us 23 inches. So the lower part will just be 23 inches plus 2 inches extra for seam allowance. Okay. So my waist is 32 inches. That's the waist I'm working with. 32 inches divided by 4 will give me 8 inches. You divide the measurement by 4, which is 8 inches. So I have 8 inches here. And I'll add 2 inches extra for seam allowance. Then from my waist to my hip, which is 9 inches, on that point I'll take my hip measurement, which is 38 inches. 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5. You ensure you divide your waist to hip by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. Then on my hemming line, that's the lower part of my dress, I'll be coming in by 2 inches from my hip measurement. That is to say, my hip measurement is 38 inches minus 2 will give me 36 inches. Then whatever you get, you also divide by 4. 36 divided by 4 will give us 9 inches. I won't be adding any seam allowance to this. I'll take same 9 inches both on the actual length and plus the seam allowance. That's on both lines. So what I'll be doing next is to connect the lines together from my waist to my hip. Then from my hip to the hemming part of the dress. Okay, I'll just use my ruler to give it a shape. You can see it's having a sharp edge. So I'll cut this out. So this is my front part of my lower part of my. So this is the front part of the dress. That's the lower part of the dress. So I decided to cut the lower part before cutting the upper part. So my fabric will still be on fold. Okay. So I'll just place the front against the folded fabric like this, and I'll ensure I'm having at about 2 inches for my zipper allowance. So this is my zipper allowance. Mark 2 inches here, or 1.5 inches. I think I'll use 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Then I'll roll it out. 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. I'll just connect the line together. This line I'm creating is just for where my zipper is going to sit. Okay. Then on that line, I'll place my front skirt on it. That's the skirt part of my dress. I'll just trace out the line. I'll just place it on it and cut it out just the way it is. I'll notch the zipper allowance, then I'll open it up. Okay, so that's all about the down part. We'll also cut our lining, folding it same way, then trim it out, just the same process. So for the upper part, I'll be using my satin. This I'm having 1.5, like 1.5 inch yards of satin. 1.5 yard of satin here. We'll be drafting a princess bustier off shoulder. So first of all, cut the center front. I'll fold my fabric into two using my shoulder measurement. So firstly, you take your shoulder measurement, divide by 2, 16 divided by 2, give me 8 inches. So the half length I'm working with is 15 inches plus 1 inch extra for seam allowance, which is total of 16 inches. So mark 16 inches here. Then my shoulder line. From my shoulder, this is my shoulder line, and this is the half length, including seam allowance. I'm having total of 16 inches. Plus 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm adding 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll also draw that line out. So what we'll be doing here is, you know, this is an off-shoulder gown, but I won't be cutting an off-shoulder gown dress now. I'll cut a normal princess bustier. After joining the front part together, then I'll minus my 4 or 5 inches, which will make it an off-shoulder. You understand better by the time we go on. So this is 16 inches, 8 inches, 16 inches divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So from that point, I'll take my under bust measurement, the distance between from my shoulder to my breast point, which is 10.5, and the distance from my breast point to my under bust, which is 3.5 inches. So this is my under bust line. And from my under bust to my, I'll measure from my under bust to my breast point, which is also 3.5, which will serve as my chest line. I'll roll that out. My breast point line and my under bust line. Okay, you can see we are having so many lines here. This is my actual half length. This is the half length, HL. This is my under bust, UB. I'm just using abbreviations. My breast points, BP, and my chest line, CH. Just trying to name them for you to see. This is the chest line, the breast point line, the under bust line, and my actual half length, which is also the waist line. So on my breast point line, I'll make sure I'll take the measurement of my bust to bust. That's the distance between both nipples. And what I'm working with is 7.5 inches. So that 7.5 we dividing it into two. Sorry, 7 inches divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I'll be adding half inch extra for seam allowance. So my breast point measure, my bust to bust measurement is 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5 plus half inch 4 inches. So I'll be marking 4 inches on all the lines here aside my shoulder line. So on my chest line, I'll take 4 inches. On my breast point, I'll mark 4 inches. On my under bust, I'll also take repeats for the same 4 inches down to my waistline. So I'll use my ruler to connect this line together. Okay, the 4 inches we are marking is the measurement for the bust to bust, that's nipple to nipple. And on my shoulder line, I'll mark 3 inches here. Then I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'll connect these 3 inches to the 1 inch. So what I'm doing right now is my shoulder slope. So this is my shoulder slope. From this point now, I'll come down by 3 inches. So I'll just connect the line together. Okay. So from these 3 inches now, connect to meet up with my chest line with the 4 inches I marked. So I'll just be using my free hand here. Just connect like this. Okay, we won't be needing this part here. This is our shoulder slope. So we'll be cutting out from here, 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 down to this point. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is my center front. So as you can see, this is my center front. So what we're doing now, we'll be notching these 3 lines. The chest line, my breast point line, and my under bust line. Okay. So we'll be cutting the side front now. Our fabric will still be on fold. Fabric on fold. You always ensure your fabric is on fold to help you save some material and in order not to make unnecessary mistakes. So fabric on fold. I will place my center front against the fabric I folded, ensuring I have at about 2 to 3 inches here. Okay. So this is the part we are needing. So I'm just drawing this line to know the. So I'm having like 2 inches extra here. So I'll just place my fabric like this on it. And I'll mark my half length. Ensure it's equal with the center front, like it matches. Okay. So this is the actual half length. So what we're doing now on this notched, remember we notched our chest line, our breast point line, our waistline. On that notch point, I'll just draw the line out so you can see my breast point. Okay. I believe you can see what I'm doing. So this is my breast point line, my waistline, and my chest line. On my breast point now, I'll take my bust measurement, which is 38 inches, 35 inches divided by 2 will give me 8.75. 35 divided by 2 divide by 4, please. You divide your bust measurement by 4. So 35 divided by 4 will give me 8.75. So I'll mark that out plus 2 inches extra for seam allowance. My waistline, I'll take my waist measurement. You also divide your waist by 4. My waist is 32 inches. Divide by 4 will give me 8 inches. Why the under bust measurement? This is the under bust line. This is the waistline. On the under bust line, I'll insert my under bust measurement. 29 inches divided by 4 will give me 8.25. I'll also add my 2 inches seam allowance to all the measurements. Okay, so you insert your under bust measurement on the line, the waist measurements, your bust measurements, and now on my, from this point here where I placed the center front, I'll just place my tape like this and take my armhole measurement, my round armhole measurement, which is 16 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 8 inches. So I'll just connect the line together to meet up with the 8 inches. Okay, so this is my armhole. So this, since this is the front part we are cutting, will be coming in from this inward on the armhole by 0.25. 0.25. Then I'll connect to meet with the sharp edge. Just connect like this. So this is what I'll be having. So I'll also trace out the center front, just like this. Okay, so this is what I'm having. So on this point, on the breast point area, I'll just come out by 2 inches. That's for the broadness of the breast, where the bust is going to sit. You just come up by 2 inches on your breast point line. You come up by 2 inches, then you connect from this point to meet with the under bust. You just take it this way. You can use a curve ruler to do this, but I prefer using a free hand. Then from the upper chest line, I'll also connect this way like this. So you can see this is what I'm having. So on the chest line, you mark ½ inch, then you just connect using a free hand from that ½ inch to meet with the breast point, which is 2 inches. This 2 inches I use here is not constant, it's just based on the bust size. If you're working with a very busty person, I'll advise you use 2.5 to 3 inches. But for average size, use 2 inches or 1.5. So I'll connect my lines together also here. Just connect the lines together. So I'll cut this out. Okay. So I'll also trim off the side area as well. Okay, so this is the back part. I fold my material into 2 again, and I just place my center front on it, leaving at about 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. You can see the space here. This will be my zipper allowance. So I'll just mark it out with my chalk for a clearer view. Mind you, I'm cutting with the wrong side of my satin. You can see I'm having plenty chalks on it. So you cut with the wrong side of your satin. So this is my zipper allowance. So I'll just cut it same way like this. The difference between the front and the back is just the zipper allowance. Shoulder slope. So I'll open up the center back. And I'll notch my zipper allowance. Okay, this is my side area, that's the bustier area. So as you can see the line I'm having here, this line. So because the back will not be having a bustier, we'll just bend it in this way using the line. So I'll just place it on it like this while the front part is on fold. Then we'll cut out the back area. This is how it will be. So I'll just cut it out how it is exactly. So I'll just cut it out. You can see the way I did it. I just fold it in. Okay, and also for this angle area, remember we came in by 0.25. So we'll also come out by 0.25 because the back elbow is ought to be normal. We don't go in the back armhole. So from this point now, just mark my 0.25 and take it this way. I believe you understand what I just did. So I'll just cut it out now. So I just cut the side area and also cut this side as well. All right, this is it. This is the back area. As you can see, it's not having that bulginess of the breast because definitely our back does not have breast, so it's straight. And this is the side area. This is the bustier area. So what we're doing next is to use our padded on it. I'll teach you guys on how to cut the padded, and also we'll be cutting our lining for this. Okay, this will be for my puff sleeve. This is 55 inches long. Okay, so I'll just try and make it equal. 55 inches long. So I'll fold it into 4. I don't want the sleeve to be too puffy. That's to say, I don't want it very big. I'll fold again, making it into 4 equal parts. You can see. So this is what I'm having, 55 inches long, and the width is times 2 of my round sleeve measurement. So the round sleeve measurement I'll be using is 13 inches. 13 inches times 2 will give me 24 inches. So I'll multiply all my round sleeve measurement by 2. Will give me 24 inches. That 24 inches now will divide by 2 because the fabric is on fold. So I'll be using 12 inches. Plus 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm having 13 inches here. So I'll just mark my 13 inches. Okay, to get my upper cap measurements, I will divide my bust measurement by 12 plus half inch, which is 4 inches. That 4 inches, since we are doubling all the measurements, we're using 8 inches instead of 4. I'll use 8 inches because it's a buff. I'll still have to gather this part. I'm using 8 inches. So okay, I also come down by 8 inches. Whatever I use at the upper part, use same measurements at the lower part. So I'll connect together. Then I won't be shaping it, I'll just wrap it out like this. Since it's a puff sleeve. Okay, this is what I'm having. So I'll trim this out. If you want it very big and a very big puff sleeve, then you multiply all your sleeve measurement by 3. But this is fine because I don't want it too big. Okay, so this is what I'm having. Okay, this is a moderate puff sleeve. So this is it. This is for one sleeve and this is for the second sleeve. Okay, I'll be using this padded on it. So I'll just fold it into 2 and place my center front on it. From my chest line to the under bust. I won't be adding the padded up to the half length to stop on the under bust. So I'll just cut it out from the chest line here to the under bust. Okay, so you can see the way I just placed it. This is how it is. Let me put it on the right, on the wrong side, so you can see. So you can see I'm having like about 5 inches upward. Then I'm having 1 inch below because I don't want it to reach the lower part of my half leg. It's stopping on the under bust. So this is how it just be. So I'll use my pressing iron now to gum it on it. You look for this hard wording, that's the shining face and also the side that is not shining. On the shining side, that's where you place on the wrong side of the fabric. That's where you have the gum. So you just place it. Just place it on it. Just gum it on it using a hot iron. See how it's looking, how gum it is. So you just come on the, you look for the shiny part. That's what the shiny part of it. This is a hard wording, the medium one. It's not that hard though. So you look for where, look at it very well. It has a shiny face. Where it shines is where you place on the wrong side of the fabric and you iron. So I've ironed this and look at how it is on it. So I'll do same thing on the side area. I'll fold my wording into two like this and I'll place my bustier on it like this. So I'll be stopping on the under bust. I'll do same thing I did for the center front, leaving at about 1 inch below, 1 inch from the, like I'll measure 1 inch here. Just measure 1 inch here like this. See? So from this point is where my padded will be starting from. You just come up by either half or 1 inch. Then I will also mark from the chest line as well. So I'll just cut it on this area, the armhole area. I'll mark 3 inches. I'll mark 3 inches here, then I'll cut it out. So I'll just open up this side like this. Okay, so this will serve for my bustier. So I'll just place it on it and gun it as well. Just place it on the wrong side. Make sure when you are placing, you place on the wrong side of your fabric. Check for the shining area that you placed on the wrong side. When you want to iron this, you iron from the right side. It will make it gum easier and faster. Then you now gum it. I'll repeat same thing on the second side. Okay, so this is how it is. So what we'll be doing next is to join the bustiers and the back side before minusing for our off shoulder. This is the princess bustier off shoulder dress. So if you see the picture, the line is not starting from the center, from starting from the side area. That to make you know it's a princess bustier off shoulder dress.